at that one piece right there. So we use something, this mnemonic device, it's called SOHCAHTOA. Sounds strange, but it kind of helps me figure out which pieces I'm going to use of the triangle to write my ratios. So when I do the sine, which is what this S stands for, I'm going to take the side that is opposite of my reference angle and divide it by the hypotenuse of the triangle. So I'm going to take the opposite side, which is across from, and I'm going to divide it by the hypotenuse. All right, so if you look at this picture here, where would I find the hypotenuse? Where is that located in this picture? Or what is the hypotenuse? Does anybody remember? I know it's been some time. Anyone? Hypotenuse? Remember what it means? The longest side of the triangle, across from the 90. So if you're looking at these three lowercase letters here, which one of these three lowercase letters is across from the 90 degrees? C. So this side over here is my hypotenuse. I'm just going to put H by P for hypotenuse. Right? It's across from the 90. Okay, and now looking at my reference angle, looking at angle A, which one of these two sides, A or B, is opposite or across from my angle A? Is it side A or side B? Which one's across, opposite? Is B across from it, or is it next to it?
Oh. I think it's the other one.
No, which one's across from A? It's also A. So this side over here is my opposite side, right? It's across from. So when I go to write my fraction or write my ratio, I'm going to take the opposite side, which in this picture is A, and divide it by my hypotenuse, which in this picture is C. And so right now that looks funky, but we're going to do an example with a number. It's going to make a lot more sense. All right, so open it up. We're doing opposite over hypotenuse. All right, so let's take a look at number one. First thing I want to do is figure out which one is my reference angle. So which angle is given to you in this picture? There's only one number there. Which angle is it? And number one, what's the angle that's given to you?
Oh,
58. So this is your reference angle. So I either want you to highlight it or circle it, color it something. This is your reference angle. Okay. Now you've got two sides that are given to you. You've got the 17 and you've got the x. I know I have to take the opposite side and divide it by the hypotenuse. Which one of those two is your hypotenuse, the 17 or the x? The 17, it's across from the 90. This side is your hypotenuse. Which means which side is your opposite side? Which one's across from the 58? The x, good. So here's your opposite side. Okay. So I'm going to write a ratio or a fraction using those two numbers. So I'm going to take the sine, because it's the opposite over the hypotenuse. So I'm taking the sine of 58, my reference angle, equals opposite over hypotenuse. What divided by what? Perfect. X divided by 17. Good. So I've written a fraction. Now it's just an algebra problem. I know it doesn't look like one, but all I want to do is get the x all by itself. So how would I get rid of dividing by 17 to get that x by itself? Times it by 17. Good. So I'm going to take the right side. I'm going to multiply by 17. Whatever I do on one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. Now, what happens on the right with these 17s? What happens with the divided by 17 and multiplied by 17? They go away. There's nothing left over there but an x. Now all I have to do is put this into my calculator. 17 times the sine of 58. So let's take our calculators. I'm going to show you how to put it in. If you're using your phone calculator, it has to be turned off of portrait mode. You have to be able to turn it sideways, otherwise you're not going to get it. So if you're using phone or if you're using a regular calculator, what we're going to do is we're going to start by putting in 17. It's going to be kind of hard to show you at the same time. Okay, 17. And then we're going to push times. Now, when we put in the sine of 58, I know it seems strange, but you actually have to put the 58 in first and then push the sine button. So you put 17, then you push the times button, then you're going to push 58, then you're going to push the sine button, and then you're going to push equals. Okay, so 17 times 58 sine, make sure you're pushing the button that says sine, and then you push equals. Same with a calculator. 17 times 58 sine equals. You can't forget the equal button. Did everybody get 14.4? Yes. Make sure you're pushing the button that says just SIN, not the button that says SINH. Also, make sure you're pushing sine, maybe not cosine by accident. Try it one more time. There also could be in or radians, would be my other guess. Good, that's the same thing still. Does your calculator say that it's in RAD or does it say DEG? Okay, click it. It has to be in degree mode. Now do it again. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so your answer should be 14.4. Yes, everybody get that when they put in your calculator? All right, good. So my answer is x equals 14.4. And a really easy way to check is just to look at the picture. My hypotenuse is 17, so this side over here is 14.4. It should be something pretty close to the same number. You shouldn't get some number really crazy. As long as it's close, you know you've done it right. All right, let's try the next one, number 2. Same idea. We're going to start by looking at our reference angle. Which angle's your reference angle? 49. So highlight it, circle it, do something to it. All right. Which side is your hypotenuse? Cross from the 90. X, good. Which means the 52 must be your opposite side. Good. So we're going to write a fraction again, just like we did before, a ratio, using the sign. I'm going to take the sine of 49, which is the angle that I'm given, and it's opposite over hypotenuse. What over what? 52 over x. Good. So this time it's been flip-flopped. Okay. Now, in the last problem, right, we got rid of the divided by 17 by multiplying by 17. In this problem, how am I going to get rid of divided by x?
Divided by 52.
Not quite.
Okay.
I want to get rid of the divided by x. What's the opposite of dividing by x? Multiplying by x. Yeah, so I'm going to take both sides of this equation, and I'm going to multiply by x. Now, on the right side, just like in the last problem with my 17s, my x's cancel each other out. I'm left with x times the sine of 49 equals 52. That's great, but I still don't have the x all by itself. What would I have to do to get the x by itself? What do you think? Ideas? Okay, well, how about this? If I gave you that equation like that, 3x equals 12, what would you do to get x by itself? Why? This is 3 times x. So to get rid of it, I would divide both sides by 3, right? And that would give me my answer. This is the same thing. You've got x times, ignore the fact that it says this, just look at the number itself. It says times 49. How would you get rid of a times 49? You would divide it. So you're going to divide on the left by this whole thing. Sine of 49 is just a number. And then whatever I do on the left side, I'm going to do on the right side, divided by the sine of 49. It's going to cancel on the left, and you're going to be just left with an x. And then all you have to do is put this into your calculator. All right, so here's the order you're going to put it into your calculator. So everybody grab your calculator or your phone, whatever you're using. Here's the order you're going to push. You're going to do 52. So everybody put that in first. Then you're going to push divided by. You're going to push the 49. Then you're going to push sine. And then you'll push equals. So that's the order you're pushing. 52. Yes. Yeah. 52 divided by 49 sine equals. And you should get something close to the 52. What do you get for your x value? 68.9. Did everybody get that? Beautiful. So your answer is 68.9. All right, first one's always the hardest. The rest of them are all the same idea. It's just a different pieces of the triangle that we're going to make as a fraction. All right, so let's close back up. Let's go into cosine now. Do I have any questions so far? A lot of it is just, can you put it into the calculator correctly? All right, cosine. So again, we are looking at angle A. That's going to be my reference angle in this picture, angle A right here. Cosine is going to be the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. Now, opposite before we used was across from. Adjacent means next to. Next to. All right, so you've got your three side lengths, the lowercase a, b, and c. Which one of those is your hypotenuse? C. Good. This is your hypotenuse. That hasn't changed. It's across from the 90. And now, which one of those letters, A or B, is next to this angle A? Which one touches this angle A? Is it the B or the A? B. Good. So this one is your adjacent. So our fraction is adjacent over hypotenuse. So in my picture here, it would be B divided by C. And again, it's just like before. It's just a fraction that we're going to put into our calculators to figure out which side length is left over. All right, so let's open it up. Let's try cosine now. Cosine. All right. So number 4. I'm sorry, it's like not that big today. Okay, which one of those is your reference angle? 67. It's the only angle given to you. Okay. Which one of those two sides is your hypotenuse? The x to the 15. 15. Good. This is your hypotenuse. Which means the x must be which one? The adjacent side. It's right next to that 67. Okay. So this fraction sets the cosine of your angle. So the cosine of 67 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. What over what? What over what? Adjacent over hypotenuse. X over 15. Now, this looks exactly the same as number 1 did. How am I going to get rid of divided by 15? Times it by 15. And whatever I do to one side of the equation, I got to do to the other. Now it's just, can you put it into your calculator correctly? All right, so with your calculator, you're putting in 15 times 67 cosine, push the cosine button, and then equals. What did you get?
5.8.
5.8. Is that what everybody got? 5.86. Yeah? Beautiful. Anybody not get that? All right. Beautiful. Okay, I want you to try number 5. Try to set it up. Give you a hint. It looks almost the same. Try number 5. Highlight your reference angle, mark your adjacent and hypotenuse, and then write your equation. Adjacent over hypotenuse. right, so does your setup look like mine? Cosine of 34 equals 21 over x. We good there? Thumbs up, thumbs down. We okay there? All right. What is my next step?
Multiply.
By what?
The x.
Multiply both sides by x. Good. So I've got x times the cosine of 34 equals 21. What's my final step to get x by itself? Divide by that cosine of 34. Good. And then it's just, did you put it into your calculator correctly? So when you put it in your calculator, you're doing 21 divided by 34 cosine equals. Don't forget to put the equal button. So everybody do it one more time just to be sure. 21 divided by 34 cosine equals. What did you get?
X equals 25.3.
25.3. Beautiful. Good. So half the battle is just, can you put it in your calculator the right way? It's all just fractions. Okay, now the last one, tangent. All right, so we've done sine, we've done cosine. Our final one is tangent. And hopefully you're noticing it's like a lot of the same thing, right? It's just a different fraction using different side lengths. So for the tangent, again, I'm looking at angle A, right over here. So I use this kind of mnemonic device called SOHCAHTOA. And so the tangent piece over here, TOA, tangent is O divided by A, which is opposite divided by adjacent. So this time I'm not going to worry about the hypotenuse. Opposite over adjacent. Now, even when I do problems like this, I like to still mark the hypotenuse so I don't accidentally use that side in the picture. Which one of these letters is your hypotenuse? C. So I am still going to mark it even though I don't need it. I really just need the other two sides. Which side is your opposite side from this A? A is opposite. And which one is your adjacent? B. Good. So in this fraction, we're going to do opposite divided by adjacent. Would be what divided by what for this picture? A divided by B. Very nice. Opposite over adjacent. Okay, so now we're going to use the tangent ratio on the back, or on the inside, sorry. Just like before, right? It's exactly the same. We're going to find our reference angle. We're going to mark our sides of the reference angle. So tangent is opposite over adjacent. Which one of these, the x or the 10, is opposite the 38? X. Good. This one is across from it. So this is my opposite, which means 10 is my adjacent. All right, so we're going to do the tangent of 38 equals opposite over adjacent. What over what? X over 10. Hopefully you're noticing it's a lot of the same thing over and over again. All right, what should I do first? Multiply both sides by 10. Beautiful. On the right, it's going to cancel. On the left, you just have to be sure you put it in your calculator correctly. All right, I'm not going to tell you how, but you put it in. We'll see if we get the same answer. All right, so you put in 10 times 38 tangent equals, did you get 7.8? No? All right, try one more time. 10 times 38, make sure you push tangent, equals. Did you get it that time? Okay, good. 7.8. All right, I think I believe in you. I don't think I think you can. I believe in you. Sorry, I put two sentences together there. Do number 8. See if you've got the same thing. I'll give you a hint. Number 8 looks exactly like number 5 and number 2 did. All right, try number 8. All right, as you finish up, look up at the board. See if your work matches mine. And I'm hoping your final answer was what? 12.35, 12.4, something like that. Hopefully something close to that. How'd you do? Give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. Got a couple thumbs up. Thumbs to the middle. All right. Take another moment to finish that one up. And then we're going to do something called the inverse. Huh? Can I go to what problem? Oh, yeah. For which one? Tangent? All right, so we have done sine, cosine, and tangent to find unknown side lengths. Now we're going to do something called the inverse to help us find the angle measures. So if you take a look at number 3, you're going to notice this time I ask you to find the angle and I give you the 2 side lengths. So this time I'm asking you to find the reference angle. Now we're still going to do what we did before. We're going to label the sides as hypotenuse, opposite, or adjacent. So if you're looking at the X right here, which one of these numbers, or the blank one, which one is your hypotenuse? 44. So we're going to mark that in our picture. Hypotenuse. And then is this 37 opposite or adjacent to the x? Is it across from or next to? It's opposite. So I've got opposite and hypotenuse. If I go back to the front, which one uses opposite and hypotenuse? Which one? Sine. Yeah, so we're going to use the sine for this problem. So just like before, I'm going to write a fraction, and I'm going to do the opposite divided by the hypotenuse. Now this time, I do not know what my angle is. It's the sine of x, because that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's unknown. Equals opposite over hypotenuse. What over what? 37 over 44. Your opposite side over your hypotenuse side. Now, when you're trying to find an angle, we push the button called the inverse. If you look at your sine button on your calculator or your phone, it's got the little -1 next to it. That's what we use to find the angle measures. So we're going to use the inverse to find the angle that works with that fraction. So here's how you're going to put it into your calculator. We essentially always go backwards. So here's what you're going to push. So everybody with your calculator or your phone, you're going to push 37 divided by 44 equals, you'll get some decimal, right? So put that in your calculator, 37 divided by 44 equals. And then now, depending on whether you're using your phone or your calculator, if you're using the calculator, you're going to push shift. If you're using your phone, you will see a button at the very top, I think that says second. And then you should see a button that says now sine of -1 on your phone, or in this case, you're pushing shift and then sine of -1. So it's really just, can you put it into your calculator correctly? So 37 divided by 44 equals, and then second, sine of -1, the inverse sine. What do you get when you did that? 57.2 degrees. Good. So this angle right here, x, is 57.2, and I put degrees because I'm talking about an angle measure. So the only hard part about this one is, can you put it into your calculator the right way? All right, let's try the next one. It's the same kind of setup. We're going to find an unknown angle in number 6, and we're going to round. We're actually going to round to the nearest 10th. All right, number 6. Here's the angle you're trying to find, angle x. Okay, which one of those sides is your hypotenuse? 18 is your hypotenuse. Okay, is 14 your adjacent or your opposite side? So is it? It's adjacent, it's next to, good. So you're using hypotenuse and adjacent. Which one are you going to use? Are you going to use sine?
No.
No, are you going to use cosine?
Yeah.
Yeah, adjacent and hypotenuse. So we're going to take the cosine for this one. It also kind of gives it away over here too, right? Cosine. All right, so we're going to take the cosine of x, and it's adjacent over hypotenuse. What over what?
14 over 18.
14 over 18, good. And so since we're trying to find an angle, I need to use the inverse cosine. So again, it's just, can you put it into your calculator correctly? So do your fraction first, and then push shift cosine. So you try it, or second cosine. See if we get the same answer. Make sure you're pushing shift and then cosine. So you push the wrong button, you're gonna get a different answer. Okay, did you get 38.9?
No.
No. All right, one more time in your calculator. 14 divided by 18 equals, and then you push second cosine.
Oh, I thought we pushed
Gotcha. So my answer is 38.9 degrees. And again, we're talking about an angle, so I put degrees. All right, last one. I'm sure you can already guess we're going to use tangent this time. Okay, so here's my angle, angle x. Which side's your hypotenuse? Oh, the blank side. Good. So I don't have a hypotenuse. I'm still going to mark it, though. I always do. Because I don't want to get that side mixed up. All right, which side is your opposite side? 11's your opposite, which means 18's your adjacent. Yep. So tangent is opposite over adjacent. Opposite over adjacent. So what are you going to do? 11 over 18. And because we're trying to find an angle, I need to use the inverse. Okay, so again, making sure you put it in your calculator correctly, give it a try, see if we get the same number. All right, did you get 31.4?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So your answer is 31.4 degrees. We're talking about an angle. All right, tomorrow we're going to do a little bit more practice with that. A little more practice. So don't lose those papers. If you remember, want to do extra credit, it closes Wednesday, so you need to make sure you do it tonight when you get home. Otherwise,